I just watched the video and it just reminded me that how the devil wants to separate us all, and that's the reason for the races. All the different races, and even within the races, you're separated. Chinese people don't like Japanese people, and you'll have a bad day if you call a Japanese person a Chinese person, and Korean as well, and Filipino. I mean, I can go all day. And the same goes for whites. Germans and Polish and Norwegian and English and French and Greek, and they're all. Every word I just said there is something totally different from the other. And they don't just have a different flag. They got a different world. Greek food, you might find it in France, but it's not going to be Greek food, like you would find in Greece. And, even in America, the South is different than the West, than Arizona, than the Northeast, and even New York. And Boston, and with the language, the Boston accent. And you go to Buffalo, New York, and the Rochester accent, it's just kind of like the Boston accent, but not. And not just if you went with accents alone, not even titles of nationalities or states or anything. Everywhere you go, the South, they have a different accent. The New York has a different accent. They love it when I say New York in the South. They just want me to sit there and be like a tape recorder and say New York, New York, New York, New York, New York. And I keep saying it. I don't know how they hear it. I just know I'll never understand how they hear it. That's just something that's just out of my realm. So it's like trying to know what a blind man sees or thinks he sees. So I just. And the languages, Spanish, English, French, Japanese, Chinese, Mongolian, and Russian, Polish, all, they're similar. There's similarities to some of them, like the Russian and the Polish and all that. If you know one, you can pretty much pick up the other. But if you know Russian and Polish, then we're close to Spanish and Italian or English, so. And all those things, and all those ways were a way to separate the races, separate the people, so that he could put in his minions and have like what he has, the Russians fighting the Ukrainians, the Jews fighting the Palestinians. And I thought there was an artist who put up a board, I guess it was a wall that they have in Israel. And he put a picture of an Israeli citizen, and he put a picture of the Palestinian citizen, and you couldn't tell the difference. They both look alike. They look like they were brothers, So that's how the devil gets in and manipulates, and his little fucking fingers get in there and start messing with people, and he starts rumors, and like with me, I don't know if child molester, that's a big rumor, but it's character assassination 101, the problem, like they did it with Trump, they tried to call him a child molester, but, it's a little different. He's got first-class tickets to Epstein's Island, and not many people went to Epstein's Island to go to the beach, so... there's a problem with that, and I'm not saying he's not a child molester, but they use it. It's character assassination, and whether it's real or not, it's character assassination. And the thing with Jesus is that I cross all those barriers. I cross them all. You go to Germany, they love Jesus. You go to Japan, they love Jesus. You go to Australia, they love Jesus. You go to Africa, they love Jesus. You go to South America, forget South America. I got the whole continent of South America. They love Jesus. And the United States, I'm saying, I transcend all those barriers, all those differences, And, each of those countries I just mentioned, a lot of them call me a different name, but they're all talking about me, you know. So, and they all know it. They don't say like I'm Mohammed. When they talk about Muhammad, they say Muhammad. They don't say Jesus. And when they talk about Jesus, they talk about Jesus. So, and that's what I was saying the other night with Russia and America and China and the leaders. They have to be elected. They only have power within the borders of the country. If Putin goes to Australia and says he wants to change something in the Australian government, they'll laugh at him. They'll probably arrest him and hang him. But I can go there and do it. And I have absolute power. I mean, total, absolute power. I can go to any country, anywhere, and basically do what I want. I don't have to necessarily change the government. Just me being there changes the government. So, it's just that kind of power that China and Russia and Trump would love that kind of power. But you know what the difference is with that power is? If I go to Australia, and I'm just using Australia as an example, but if I go to Australia, I would try and work to make it better, and Trump would go there and try to put up a hotel and a golf course, and try to make money, and Russia would try to get them to make new guns for the Russian army. They would warp it. They would make it sick, and she would be like, "Can we ship women to you instead of brothels in Australia?" I mean, it's just they wouldn't try to make Australia better. They would try to rape Australia for whatever they can get out of it, So, that's the big difference. And if you think I'm wrong, I don't know how to make you think I'm right, but I don't know what planet you live on. Trump manipulates and does everything to make money. I mean, but I don't think you know. I think you think I'm right, because I am.